I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Well, I thought I'd do the intro without having the heater on because I noticed yesterday it was pretty noisy in here. I have the rack up, I have the area cleared for the bench to come in. I have some machinery to move out of the garage before I can bring them out to the workshop. They're in the way of getting the bench out. So I have a saw filer and a bandsaw to bring out and set over. And I'm probably going to put them in this area here. But I'm going to try and leave open the area where the furnace is because I want to have this little guy working. I set this here before I had the roof finished. This is an add-on wood stove for a furnace. It's designed to heat a house, whole thing. It has the stove has a forced air blower on the back, and the reason it sits away from the wall says it has to have 30 inches. I want to leave room enough to get back and work on this blower if I need to. Got a control circuit, runs off of 110. And it's made to blow the air out. It's designed to be connected to a ductwork system. I don't have a ductwork system in here. I doubt I ever will. But I want to put a system on here that will let this thing blow air in a couple directions. Sitting on some boards. I didn't want to sit on the floor rusting because the floor was wet and I set it up on some pieces of wood. Got it all cleaned out, ready to go. Did that outside so I didn't have a mess inside. I have some welding to do on the door. Someone did their best to weld it, and I'm not going to criticize. They got it done. It needs to have a re-weld done on it. Problem I'm having is I can't see. I have an issue with the eye, with the right eye, and I'm right-hand dominant, right-eyed. And problem I'm having is they call it a macular pucker. There's a thin membrane over the retina And the macula is the point where all of the fine detail is picked up on your eye. And for some reason, as you age, the vitreous humor, the liquid inside your eye, tends to start to gel up, and it will pull on the membrane over the macula and cause it to wrinkle. So my right eye is like looking through saran wrap. Left eye is fine. I can see just fine with my left eye, but depth perception requires both eyes. My son bought a chair for his wife. Nice hanging chair, because we had a hanging chair and his wife liked that chair so much, Ryan decided to buy her one. So he bought her one, and then he realized that when he bought the chair and the base, they weren't made by the same company, and the base is a foot too short. In other words, the chair hangs down so far that it sits on the ground. So, well, not sits on the ground, but too close to the ground to be comfortable. So he asked me to put an extension on it, and I said, sure. And I was building the building and having a great time doing that. No problems with my eyes. I got done with the building to the point where I had the roof on, and I said, okay, before I put the door up, I'm going to go ahead and weld up that chair. Ryan has been a big help for me. He helped me put the walls up, he helped me put the roof up, rafters, whole 9 yards. Not every day, but he came down for 4 weekends and worked the whole weekend, full long days. So I said, I owe him that chair. So I went to weld the chair, and then I realized that this little discontinuity, I'm seeing a bar, a little black bar about here in my vision. That little black bar had gotten worse. I couldn't see well enough with this eye to determine depth. And when you're welding, you really got to be able to put the tip of the rod where you want it, and trying to look through a dark lens with one eye, and this eye not seeing well but still trying to help. I kept missing the crack. Just doing a terrible job. Normally a little weld like that I would have done in 15 minutes and said, there you go. It was a mess. So now I have the chair the chair part in the garage waiting to be welded. I have an appointment with the doctor to get my eye surgery done on the 29th. Yep, leap year, 29th of February. And so after that, it's 4 days, I can't do anything. I have to sit still and not move. No lifting, no running, no walking, no driving. I'll have a patch over my eye, and it's going to take a little time. Then it's about 4 weeks after that before I can do any welding. So it's going to be into March on into May before I get a chance to get back to actually doing work. That's why I'm trying to get all this stuff done out here in the workshop that I can now, so that I can just walk out here and sit in a chair, if nothing else. I can't do any work, but I can say I got something done. So that's what my push is, to get this part working. I may not get the furnace done in that amount of time. I do want to get the workbench out here. I want to get the area straightened out so I can walk through. I have a bunch of stuff. I'm going to be putting chainsaws and things up on that top shelf, because that's not a shelf I'm going to access a lot. There's one more shelf that goes up and becomes the very top of the racking system. Anyways, I got to ask when I'm going to put up the mezzanine, because I'm going to run out of space. Well, these shelves act as a mezzanine. They're high enough that I can stack up things clear to the ceiling. They're 8 feet high. The ceiling is 10 feet. That gives me 2 foot of room to put stuff up there. And I can put things like the power washer up on the top shelf, because I have the equipment that I can lift heavy things up high. Now, there'll be other things going on. I've got ladders to put up. I've got other things to take care of. So it's a whole long involved process. But what else have I got to do, right? Got to get things done to get things done. So I have the Furnace out and available. Gonna move some of the junk so I got walking space and room to work. None of these things require perfect vision, thank goodness. Do you ever lose things? I do. A lot more often than I want to. When I worked at United Technologies, I carried a clipboard everywhere I went because it had all my notes, all the things that happened during the day, all the things that I needed to do during the day. And it was a list, a checklist of things that I wanted to have done. So I would go visit the place to make sure the job was done and check it off. Well, quite often I'd get distracted and I'd need to go up a ladder or into behind a piece of machinery or something to see what was happening. I didn't work for a living. I was a supervisor, but I still liked doing a lot of, getting up close and actually seeing the thing. Relying on somebody's description is not the best. So anyways, I would set down my clipboard and I would come down and I didn't carry a clipboard 24/7. It wasn't like something that was strapped to me all the time. So I would set the clipboard down and somebody would ask me a question and I'd walk off and leave it. Then I would go back looking for it and people knew that it was my clipboard. Now they could have been jerks and hid it on me. There were a few people that might try that, but there were other people that said, "No, he's doing a good job, leave him alone. Here's your clipboard, Dave." So that was a big help. Now I have a cell phone, and I've had a cell phone, well, I had it at Demmer, so I've had it for about, 7 years before I retired, and then that's been 12 years ago, so 19 years I've been carrying a cell phone, one way or another. When I retired, left Demmer, I gave them back their iPhone and said, "Thank you very much, but I don't want one anymore." Then we wanted to go to, where was it? Atlantis, not Atlanta. We did go to Atlanta to get to Atlantis, but we went to Atlantis down in the Bahamas. And I said, okay, we're going to be out of the country. We're going to be basically in a place that I don't know anything about. I can't speak the language, and most of the people there speak English because, you know, it's Atlantis. And their whole job is to be a resort for people to come and stay. So there were always English-speaking people around. But it's not the native language of anybody around. So I thought if I walked off the premises, I could find somebody that I can't speak the language. So I couldn't find directions to get back where I needed to be. But I had a cell phone. And I knew my iPhone always had maps of everything and I could find my way around. So I got this Samsung phone. And I carried it all the way around Atlantis for the full 10 days we were there. And I got used to carrying it, so I stuck it in my pocket. Now I'm doing YouTube quite frequently. The cell phone is the camera of choice because I have it with me. But in the last couple of years, I've been having a problem. I set it down and walk away. Reminds me of United Technologies and the clipboard. Today, I went looking for my cell phone. Couldn't find it. There's a handy program on the computer that says, here's your cell phone. Picks up, puts a map on the screen, a little marker there to show you where the phone is. Usually I find it in the truck or sitting in a chair, or, you know, it'll actually show you which room of the house it's in. Well, this time it said it's in the front yard somewhere. It's at this address. Didn't say it was in the front yard. The marker was in the front yard. It said it's at this address, but we haven't contacted it in 13 hours, and that was about 2 hours ago. So I went looking for it around the house thinking, okay, it's probably in the truck. Nope, not in the truck. In the bathroom, not in the bathroom. In the office, not in the office. Is it downstairs? No, I haven't been downstairs, but I went and looked anyways. Looked around in the garage, came out here, looked around in the workshop, because the last place that I came to when, you know, you go 15 hours ago, I walked out to the workshop. You're probably watching the video sometime today, I hope, or yesterday, telling you about my adventures in working in the workshop. As I walked out to the workshop, I ran the camera and talked about the yard and kind of things that were going on, the weather, you know, normal stuff that I do. But the battery was getting low. So I thought, well, I don't want the battery to die, because then you got to go through a charge up and it's a pain in the butt. I should have a charger out here in the workshop. That way I would know where it is. I'll just put it on the charger and have it all the time. They're cheap. It's one of the little induction chargers. So anyways, I came in the workshop. I had it in my pocket. And rather than keeping it in my pocket, I put it on the seat of the tractor and walked away. There wasn't anybody to say, hey Dave, here's your phone. It was just me. So I looked around, said, okay, what's the best way to find things? Clean the workshop. That means you move everything, you pick things up, and when you're all done, not only have you found the thing, luckily, or hopefully, you've also got a clean workshop, and it's somewhat organized. You put things away where they belong, and you can find them again because they're on the shelf or in the place where they're supposed to be. Found this sitting on the tractor seat. Turned off. The program can't find it if it can't talk to it, and when it's turned off, you can't talk to it. So we'll see if it's got any charge left in it at all, and if it doesn't, I'm going to put it on the charger in the house. It'll be charged up and ready to go again. But put the thing back in your pocket when you're done with it. At least you'll have it there. You can go, oh yeah, there it is. Battery's dead, but there it is. And I have it encoded so that nobody can come in and open my phone without me knowing about it. Dates back to the hack. A little paranoia isn't a bad thing. The only thing it does is it slows you way down because it has to stop and think and do a bunch of stuff, and it takes memory out of the computer. It says data usage alert, tap to view usage and settings. And I have 75% charge. So I'm good to go. Life's good if you let it. There, now my phone's in my pocket and the workshop's clean. I can open the big door, start the tractor, drive around, pick up some of that equipment out of the workshop or out of the garage and bring it out here because I have room for it. There's space on the floor. I can actually set things on the floor and move them over there. Most of the stuff that I'm going to be moving is on wheels. It'll roll around and I can shuffle it fairly easy. Life's good.
Well, when I drove around, it was lunchtime, so I stopped. We'll come back to this one tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union without the express written permission of the parents or the legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.